It's time for all your binge-worthy pop culture news. Welcome to Up and Adam.
Hi, guys. Welcome back. And guys, I've been doing videos all day today. This is number 10 for my videos, but thank you guys so much for joining me. I apologize. I'm not feeling the best. I see a couple of super chats in the chat already, so I'm going to bring them up. And then we have a very special guest, Ryan Bailey. Guys, you guys have expressed how excited you are, and I can't just say enough how thankful I am that Ryan has given us his time, because his podcast is right up there with number one. I mean, this is amazing. So let's bring these up, and then we will bring up Ryan Bailey. Krista Marie Miller, hashtag baddies for life. I listen to Ryan every morning for over a year. Indeed, I do faithfully because I agree with him a lot, and Adam's my second morning news to go to. Hey, thank you. I will be second to Ryan Bailey. I appreciate that. And then also Krista Marie Miller, just wanted to say, hey, and especially Ryan, I'm going to just say now, once that every opinion or assessment Ryan has about this stuff, I have agreed upon. Guys, again, I apologize, but if you haven't already, go ahead and smash that like button. Welcome our special guest, Ryan Bailey. Hey! Look at that.
Hi, Krista. Thank you for the nice messages. But yeah, this is you don't need to feel good today, because we have you have me and you have Tom Girardi, and we feel great. So,
oh my gosh. So for those of us who don't necessarily understand, and it's not me because we talked about this, especially with you and your team, there was a Girardi auction and there was over $200,000 made to give back to the victims, and especially the Rui Gomez family. Guys, if you're not aware, there were a few items here. Some lingerie. Do you have lingerie back there?
Yeah, I think you're referring to these, maybe.
Oh my gosh, no!
These are the that's the ones. Yeah,
you bought the lingerie.
I mean, I won the. I mean, you don't buy something, you win something like that.
You win something. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I didn't win that. That actually went way too high. That was like $750, something ridiculous. Well, I mean, this is all ridiculous, by the way.
I mean, you won a few items. Okay, so before we jump in, we saw the photo of Tom Girardi and we saw the lingerie. What all did you win from this auction?
Well, I don't know if you like oil paintings, but this is an oil painting of Tom Girardi and his brothers. Here's Tom over here, and then I think this is his dad, and then these are his brothers, and it's an oil painting. But
which one is Robert?
I think it's the one far over, that one right on the end.
All the way to the right.
Yeah, here's Tom in better days. But there was a grab bag we got where it was like a bunch of law awards. Like here's Fighting for the Little Guy, Tom Girardi. This is from Law Dragon. And these are really nice frames too. This is a nice one. Super Lawyers, Tom Girardi. He's a super lawyer. And there's about like 30 of these in the grab box, and it was only like $70. So that was it was a pretty good get.
Can we ask you, Ryan, how much did you spend at this auction?
Well, I mean, the podcast itself and my friend Megan, I mean, it's like $700.
Okay.
It was a lot, but that's you're going to be able to make that money. This is going in the Smithsonian one day. So, and actually, I actually do want to start a reality show museum, and I think some of these things are going to be great. And then others, we're going to do a contest for the podcast. If you want to own a piece of Tom Girardi history, we're going to do a contest. And I know the Watch What Crappens guys, they want one. So it's going to be a Merry Christmas for a lot of people.
I like this. All right. So for those of us, or not, I don't want to include myself in this, but for those who are living under a rock and they don't know you, can you at least let us know who you are and where your podcast is? Because I've been following you for quite some time. I've been waiting for this moment. We thought we were going to get this moment last week. You weren't feeling the best. And unfortunately, guys, you know, because I've done a few videos today, I'm not feeling the best, but this is not something we can put on hold. Ryan,
No, I mean, you can put it on hold as much as you want, but you can find me the podcast is called So Bad It's Good with Ryan Bailey. It's a daily podcast. I used to do, it's been going on about a year and a half or a little bit longer than that, I think, but it used to be these 5 to 6 podcasts I would do once a week. And it was just crazy. I'd have 3 guests and a bunch of segments, and my parents are always on. And it's a talk show in itself, or like kind of just a bunch of different elements. There's music and stuff. And then in the new year, I started to go to a daily format when I signed with iHeartRadio. And so I'll do a day like today, to Watch What Crappens Guys was on Monday. We do a pop culture roundup with Sophie Ross. On Friday, I do a solo recap of Real Housewives of Beverly Hills every week. And it just gives you a chance to talk to so many amazing, I mean, you'll have to come on at some point. You get to talk to so many amazing people, and the people that love these shows, they're some of the smartest, funniest people that I've ever met in my life. So I'm kind of living out a dream, because I've always wanted to be a host of some sort, and I just never thought it would be like this.
You know, I actually agree with you on this, and not actually like it's a surprise, but I agree with you on this because it's interesting how the super fans of any reality TV, especially Bravo super fans, how they react. And like you said, they are so smart. They're like investigators. So when we're watching the shows, especially like Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, they're diving in. They're like, wait a minute, hold on. No, hell way. That is not what happened. And I'm like, how do you guys have this much information?
Well, that's what, like, I'm an idiot, but some of the listeners are some of the smartest people I've ever met. And I really do believe through this and Jen Shah, you're going to actually have people go to law school because of the passion they found investigating these stories. In fact, I have Ronald Richards, who is trying to collect money. I don't know if you know the lawyer Ronald Richards.
Oh, of course, we've had him on several times.
Yeah, he's coming on. He's coming on this week, and I had to wake up super early to talk to him. But it's fascinating. We were talking just about how many people have such knowledge now, but it's at the same time, there's this vitriol. You know, I have vitriol towards Erika Jayne because I don't consider her a victim. And I know Tom is responsible for all of this, but I don't consider her a victim. But it's fascinating how passionate these fans are. And I would never, I mean, I just hope they're always on my side, because I would never want to tangle with any of these. I mean, just, you don't want to be a criminal around these fans, you know?
No, you don't want to have any skeletons in your closet, and you don't want to piss any of them off for sure. You know, Ronald Richards has been on our channel multiple times, and he's broke exclusives on our channel when it came to Erika Girardi's tax woes and her signing off her business as not making any money for multiple years. And then also the fact that he was deciding as to whether or not he should serve Lisa Rinna with the deposition. We've had him on a few times, and I have to, normally I don't cuss on here, but I'm just going to be real with you, Ryan, because this is the first time that you're here. I've gotten a lot of shit for having Ronald Richards on my channel.
I'm ready to get a lot of crap, but you can't not talk to somebody this close to the case. And at the end of the day, he admits what he is. He's a pit bull. He is going after, we, I think, have a great deal of sympathy for the victims. And really, there's that housewife and the hustler thing touched me so much. But Ronald is out there to collect money, pure and simple. That is his one job. And, I think sometimes we get mixed up and we'll fight anybody. Like I see Ronald get crap, and I see Erika Jayne get crap, but I don't think they're comparable. I think Erika Jayne, you've got to give way more crap than Ronald Richards ever. He's just trying to collect money. And I feel like, let's get this done, and then we can, he just seems like a lawyer that is like, I am out to do one job and I'm going to do it any way possible. And yeah, his tactics might not be something that we're used to going back and forth on Twitter. I've talked to lawyers that are like shocked that he does that, but it seems like it's a tool for him that he uses. But people either love him or hate him,
Well, and I have to agree with you on that, because Ronald Richards, when it comes to everything that he says online, I see where the fans are totally divided. And I agree with what you're saying, because a lot of fans, and also Erika has been very active on social media, even though we are probably sure she doesn't have a crisis management team, but she does have a defense team. And just like Jen Shah, because you mentioned her, Jen Shah's defense team, from what we heard, said, hey girl, stay off of social media. Don't film the show. Any of this information can be held against you. And for Erika, most likely the same thing. Now, they're two totally different cases. Erika's not being charged criminally, but with Ronald Richards, it's somehow been painted in a way that doesn't look favorable to him, because now fans are starting to learn he gets a commission. So they're like, wait a minute, wait.
But that, I mean, that's the law, for better or worse. These people get paid. These people get paid for better or worse. And I don't, like, he even says on the podcast, he's like, I am here to collect money, you know, and I can waive certain fees. I can waive that, but I have a job to do for the, you know, the people he is working for. And his job is specifically to go after Erika Jayne. It's not to go after Tom Girardi. It's not to go after his mistresses. So we'll see, but he doesn't seem to. I asked if it hurt his feelings, and he said sometimes, you know, sometimes it does, but he's used to doing this. Like, this is something that he is used to doing. So I kept trying to give him the opportunity to say how much he feels for the victims. And I don't think it's necessarily all of that for him, where of us will see those stories and we're horrified. He is just like, I want to know where this $25 million went, period. I want to know where it went. I see the Amex bills. And, you know, we just saw last week the TJ Maxx, you know, Erika Jayne staging photos at a TJ Maxx in Pasadena. And it's fascinating because I don't know who is advising her. Exactly. Yeah, that's it. Exactly. And by the way, Ronald Richards says, hey, shout out to TJ Maxx. It's a favorite of our family. We love TJ Maxx. So good for her for getting those deals. But it's funny that she chooses one to go to in Pasadena when there's one way closer to her actual house.
Unless there is the guy who is funding the whole legal operation behind the scenes, because we know this money is coming from somewhere. And while she might have the main source of income, this is a lot of money that's being funded, especially if you're taking the legal responsibilities and the legal bills, allegedly, of the accountant / manager and everything else. Like, there's a lot of money going out right now. And even Ronald Richards said, I don't know where it's coming from. And I asked him that, you know, a few questions about the victims and how do you feel? And he said simply, these weren't his words exactly, but I'm trying to kind of just decode them. I'm getting kind of annoyed because a lot of this moving forward has been focused on getting me off the case, because I'm being accused of exhibiting tabloid-like behavior, trying to get a come up off of the Girardi scandal. However, you're wasting money, you're wasting time. The judge has said no multiple times. What are we doing? Yeah,
that's what he said. I mean, she spent over $500,000. And like you said, we don't know where that money's coming from. If there is another boyfriend and if there is a benefactor, you know, he's like, is that money coming out of the $25 million? Is it coming out of some gentleman paying? We don't know. But it is funny that, like, you know, once you say you want me off the case, he said, you know, of course that means I'm doing something right. So, you know, I think he's in this weird position where you know, as much as you want to get your name out there, you don't want to become the villain in a story where there's already so many villains, you know?
Exactly. No, I mean, honestly, I would not want to be in his position, but it seems like from what he said, over the past decade, he's recovered over hundreds of millions of dollars.
Yeah.
I watch out for. This man is on it. Wherever money is coming from, going from whatever the case is, he is going to figure out where that money stems from. And that's kind of scary if you're the one who's trying to hide, allegedly, where any of this is from. So I get it. I mean, I would want him on the case.
I think, you know, we talk about this show every week, and I mean, this is just such a great season. You really can't argue with how good of a season it is. But this season ends in 5 episodes, supposedly, and then we have probably 3 reunion episodes. And this case will not be solved. And I think some of us think that there's like a whodunit here, and we're going to find out at the end of the season. And that's just not how it is. The wheels of justice move slow, and she's trying to slow them down even more. And I feel like this really is something we're going to live with for years. In terms of
social media, and you have a lot of funny posts, and I'm going to bring them up. Actually, guys, for those of you who don't follow Ryan Bailey, let me give you an example. Okay? Erika has become a living emoji, and the face matches the face when you choose to operate on the ankle and not the brain. Hashtag RHOBH. But this is just one of the many. When it comes to everything going on with Erika, I don't know if you've heard about this, but I did a podcast with my friend Zach Peter, and he's very close to. Oh, you know Zach?
Yeah.
Okay, so he's very close with a few execs, and he's the one who told me that the housewife and the hustler and the housewife, again, sorry guys, Zyrtec over here, but this was not the first and only documentary. This was the first of many documentaries to come. Now they're working on a second documentary after.
Jen Shaw, right?
Well, no, with Erika, because more
Oh,
information
wow.
has come out. I was wondering if you've heard about this and what you would expect.
I heard about the Jen Shaw one. I heard the same production company was doing a Jen Shaw one, but it doesn't shock me in the least because it was so successful. It got really people talking. And I don't think Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, the production company, counted on this coming out when it did. Because remember, when the season started, they were portraying Erika as a sympathetic character, and they were portraying her as somebody that was taking a stand for females and female empowerment, and I'm going to leave my man who is cheating. And then that Housewife and the Hustler came out, and you realize how dark it was, where all this money and the victims, and it gave a face to the victims. And that's what even kind of gave me pause. And I don't think I think it took Real Housewives of Beverly Hills a couple episodes to catch up with the damage that documentary did, because it was just, we were just getting Erika's word of these, like, Tom cheated on me and I left him. Like, and we were supposed to feel bad for Erika. And now we realize this is much darker. But at the end of the day, the thing that confuses me, I'm not the smartest person in the world, but what we're basically saying, if you're an Erika stan, we're just fighting for her because we want her to keep her jewelry and her lifestyle. That's the part that confuses me. What are we supposed to necessarily feel bad for Erika about? That she's not able to travel on a private jet? Like, it confuses me. Like, I don't understand why I'm supposed to feel bad for her when it's like, when you marry for not 100% love, when you marry to be taken care of, you run the risk. You're gambling like anybody else. And it fell hard,
Right. And there's a lot of people who have come on and they've said to me, Tom was the reason that these crimes were allegedly committed and he was the mastermind and Erika was just the wife. And trust me, I've gotten a lot of backlash too, just to be fair here. But I agree with you in the simple fact that if you guys are watching The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, PK said it best. He said, I understand that she can't go on and say certain things because she has a whole defense team guiding her, which makes sense. This is huge. But you can say how bad you feel for the victims, which is one thing we haven't seen from Erika whatsoever, except for The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills back and forth that we saw at Kyle Richards' Christmas party, where Garcelle said the victims are first and Erika just seemingly agreed. But when it comes down to it, at the end of the day, we haven't heard. Listen, if I were Erika, and I want to pick your brain on this, if I were Erika, I would be like, I will give you all of the Hermes in my closet, the clothes, let's liquidate. Yeah. What can we do? And then I will write a tell-all and make my money back. Or I will keep my items. I will write a tell-all over everything that I knew. I just want to let you guys know this is coming. And then all of the proceeds, 100%, will go back to the victims. We have not heard any of that. So it's so hard to sympathize with her.
Well, she's a very unsympathetic character, and that's not new. That's who she's been for 8 seasons. Remember, we don't know a lot about Erika. What's her phrase? Like, I'm an enigma wrapped in a riddle, and PK says she's inherently cold, and all of that is true. We've never really known that much about Erika, and there always has been a facade up. So when you want to pull that facade back, to me, that's not, I'm not going to sympathize with you when there's so many other victims, actual victims to sympathize. And you've been known for just bragging about your wealth, which is what we love from our housewives. But what I'm realizing is that I love that from our housewives when I know that they can afford it, when I know that it's not on the backs of victims that she's bragging about costing $40,000 a month or paying Mikey Minden or any of that stuff to me, because then it's like, it's not worth it because the character isn't that good to begin with. Like, right. So if you take all of that away, but I don't understand why she isn't like, I'll give up everything. This was ill-gotten. I'll give up everything. And like she said on the show, I just want to walk out with my name, with this character, be on the show. But it seems like she thinks she's smarter than everybody. And you can't play smart and dumb at the same time, which I think PK said as well, which I can't believe I'm agreeing with PK this much this season.
I know.
But
Me too.
It's frustrating because sometimes she wants to play dumb, but she's been on record of saying, I signed those tax returns. I know where the money's going. I mean, I've listened to her autobiography. A lot of these things you find out are probably, BS, but at the same time, she said them or wrote them, and all of this stuff will be used against you. And this dang culture of celebrity that we have that I love so much, it makes people do things It makes people lie. It makes people like Jen Shaw. These people are trying to act like they have more wealth than they have, or actually stealing to get things. And we see that it's actually starting to get people in really big trouble. Jen Shaw will go to jail. Erika Jayne will not, but Jen Shaw will, you know?
Right. You know, and I have to say this too, because I worked for LVP for quite some time, I think off and on over 5 years. And every time she would walk in to one of her restaurants and walk into a business, she was stunning. She has money, she has class, she has that adorable English accent that we all love, but she was stunning and she does everything by herself. So when you see her, you're like, wow. And that is not $40,000 worth of glam. So it makes me kind of question where Erika's coming from, because she's significantly younger than Lisa Vanderpump. But when it comes to everything that Erika is portraying right now, I'm kind of with you. I'm on the fence, and I'm trying to throw a bone over here and be like, Erika, give us something to work with. Lisa Rinna is so blindly defending her, but I can't necessarily get there right now. And I know there's a difference. She is not being charged criminally. But as of right now, as per Ronald Richards, that's yet. Because if you find out that there's tax fraud, then that could be something that you're charged criminally with.
Well, I mean, we'll definitely find out, but it is one of those things. If I feel like she could get herself in trouble by trying to hide as much as she is, instead of just telling us the truth. That's when criminal things can be charged against you. And it would be a real shame if she could actually walk away scot-free, and she's not, because she's trying to keep or hide wealth. If she's trying to hide rings and shoes and all of this stuff. And it's like, from the first episode of the season, we saw, the editors even trolled her with saying Erika Jayne's overflow closet. And it was, remember when they were putting all the clothes in an overflow closet, you realize, I mean, the same thing happened with Jen Shaw in the season premiere of Salt Lake, is that they went inside their closets, and you're just like, this is worth going to jail for. This is worth, I mean, and listen, I'm not rich, so I don't know the allure of that. I'm sure it's amazing to buy expensive things, but I also think it's probably amazing to not be in jail,
Right. And you have to think about some of these bags, like, I don't have a lot of rich friends, but I do have a couple of friends from LA who can afford these items. And some of these items go, especially bags, anywhere from $10,000 to $130,000. I have a friend who has a white crocodile Birkin, and it's worth almost $150,000. So it blows my mind. And when you walk in these closets, you have no idea the monetary value on the tag that has to do with each individual item. But one question I have for you is, there was a lot of backlash that Erika got this season, because we heard Camille Grammer, who has chimed in a lot this season. We know Erika as the ice queen of the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. We see her, even when she gets upset, she cries. We don't get the streaks, whatever. But here's an example. Here's one moment where Erika's crying, and this had nothing on the line. This was a moment with her mother. But then you go up, and all of a sudden you see another moment, and she knows her life is on the line, her livelihood and everything going on, and she's getting the mascara tears. Now, Camille said, wait a minute, we were in the Bahamas a few seasons ago, and she was swimming in and out of the water like a dolphin. No mascara, nothing running.
Well, I mean, listen, it's got to be frustrating for somebody like Erika to not only have to contend with her actual castmates this season, but then every other castmate that wants attention from Beverly Hills, like Camille, to actually have them weigh in is really funny to me, because I just always imagine Erika going like, damn it, why did Camille open her mouth? Like,
she's like, it's him.
Erika Jayne is giving the performance of a lifetime, but it's like one of the worst performances of a lifetime. Like, it's so, you can see through things so much, and it's one of those things where I'm like, she thinks she's smarter, or you can always picture Mikey going like, put more mascara on, it'll run, it'll be dramatic, and you can kind of see these things going down, where in the moment I'm sure she did. And by the way, I think those were real tears in Palm Springs when Garcelle said, Tom calls you every day, is it all right if I shared that with you? And she broke into tears, because I don't think she was crying about the situation. I think she was crying because she got busted, and a lot, like, she's, I think all of these lies and all of these stories have to be really hard to keep up with. And even if she's not sad about certain situations, I'm sure the mental anguish to keep all of these balls in the air and to keep from trying to get in trouble and all of this. I mean, I don't think I think she's cold, but I don't think she's insanely good. I mean, I think she realizes where she's at, but we all try to choose ways to go through life. And I think she thinks she's portraying this strong figure when it's like, it's not about you, it's about the victims. And it doesn't seem to ever be clicking in her head. In her head, she thinks it's the Erika Jayne show. And she thinks she's like, but she doesn't realize it's like, no, it's the victims. You're a part of it, but the victims need the spotlight. And the fact that you keep trying to grab that spotlight is so bizarre, and it makes her look just 10 times worse.
It's honestly so bad watching it. And if you look at it and you try to dissect it, and I, again, have received so many messages of people who have ripped me apart up and down, sideways, everything. And I try to go back to, we watched The Housewife and The Hustler, where it gave an actual voice to the victims. I know that viewers, subscribers, people a part of my community on here and on social media, they want you to be like, wait a minute, Adam, throw Erika a bone. And I'm waiting for the opportunity to do that. But then when I see a photo like this, from the Housewife documentary,
the guy's lungs were burned. I mean, like, come on. I mean, like, and by the way, like, I still don't like, stan culture is very interesting. Like, you can still love a character, but be like wildly disappointed in how they behave during a situation. And I don't like, I do question sometimes of like, what are you necessarily a fan of at this point? Like, what at this point, what are you a fan of? Like,
right.
I don't personally, and also just, this is a reality show. These people don't have discernible talents. These aren't actors, supposedly. These aren't writers. I mean, you could argue Erika Jayne's maybe a singer, but there's no discernible talent. So you're just saying, I like this person so much that I'm willing to turn my back on any of the information that is coming through and say that she is completely idiotic, completely without knowledge of any of this situation, yet she spent the money, bragged about the money, and she married this man who was 35 years old, her senior, and that was from the beginning. That was before any cameras were around. And she asked, where did the money go? Yet look at her face. Look at her clothing. Look at everything she brags about. That's where the money went. Like, this is not a big mystery.
Okay, so I have a question for you. And if you're not comfortable answering it, you don't have to.
Yeah.
Obviously, because you're on top of all of this. And I mean, honestly, I don't have to go further than that. But you're on top of all of this. And Bethany Frankel came out on her podcast. And so did Camille Grammer on Twitter.
Yeah,
They both noted, right, that they knew something about Erika Girardi since 2017, 2018, 2019. Camille found out at Andy's baby shower, and then Bethany found out from her late ex-fiance, Dennis. They knew that Tom Girardi had allegedly shady business practices. And then Bethany said she shared that with not only Andy Cohen, but Kyle Richards and Lisa Rinna. My question to you is, how the hell do you not know that any of this is being talked about?
That's why, I mean, I think there's a different rule book when you're dealing with rich people. Like, I almost think that what I keep saying on my show is that I'm starting to think that there's no real wealth. It's just people stealing from other people and borrowing from other people and just keeping up appearances, because, yeah, this seems to have been known about for quite some time. I mean, even with Bethany said that Dennis loaned Tom Girardi money that Dennis never got back. And for somebody that lives in New York to be giving money, I don't even know how that came about. But these are real things. And I do think it's like when we talk rumors about our normal friends, it's just on a much smaller scale of like, who lied about me about going out on Friday? This person. But instead with rich people, it's, who lied about having millions of dollars? Tom Girardi. Like, and I think they kind of like it. I think they get off on that kind of rumor mill of like, guess who's not as rich as they say it is, as they say they are. But yeah, I think this was probably really known. And by the way, I don't think this is like, I think that you would probably get rumors about PK and Dorit. I bet there's rumors about, I've heard rumors about all of these ladies. This is not, this didn't shock me at all. In fact, I get scared about who will be the next one to get busted. Like, who will be the next one to be in some situation like this? And that's why I find it hysterical that so many ladies even want to be on this show anymore. If you're a good criminal, if you're stealing, like, it's all ego driven. Like, why would you ever want to put yourself on TV if it's like they always think they're smarter and their egos are so huge that they think they are going to be able to just skate right past it and just take the fame, and there's no cost.
This question is for you, Jen Shaw. No. All right. So, getting back to the reunion for the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, we obviously know that they already filmed September 10th, and there's a lot that's coming out. Andy Cohen said that he left nothing on the table. And we talked about, which is, yeah, I get it. I'm laughing too. We've talked about the fact that Erika Girardi will most likely be coming next season, only because this is a main source of income, but these are giving them amazing ratings. The scandal is like kind of fueling Real Housewives of Beverly Hills right now. Yeah. Even though it's all about Erika, all of the women are playing off of it, and it's branching out in its own ways, causing rifts between the other women. I agree with you. I think she'll be back too. But do you think the reunion will deliver in the same way that Andy Cohen and Lisa Rinna are alluding to on Watch What Happens Live?
Well, no, listen, Andy Cohen is a carnival barker. He's amazing at it, but he's like Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey Circus. He's like, part of any of this is you create the mystery and you create legends and you create excitement. And I think that's what Andy does a really good job of. We'll see. But also you have to remember is that like Andy has to give a little to get a little. Like he has to kiss her ass to get like her to speak. Like you can't just be somebody like me where I'm like, I think you're guilty as hell. Like I wouldn't get anywhere with her, So right. We'll see. It's going to be a mixed bag. Nobody's going to be completely satisfied. And the fact that Lisa Rinna said it was so good makes me go, oh no, it's not that good. For Lisa Rinna to think it's good, I'm like, oh, well then it must not be good at all. But yeah. I mean, listen, it's a great season even without the Erika Jayne stuff. So I can't wait regardless. I think each one of these ladies has something so unique to offer, and they're a good team this season. And I mean team in the sense that a lot of them hate each other, but together it all works. You have something like Real Housewives of New York where, you can sense a lot of hatred as well, but it doesn't work. Beverly Hills works this season, It's
a good ensemble cast.
Yeah. I mean, that's what you want. I mean, I would rather an ensemble cast than stars. Like right. I would rather, and you'll always have people that have better storylines. Like Dorit didn't have much of a storyline this season. I guess now the wedding dress stuff happened at the last minute, but it's fine. When you have that many good things happening, I don't need Dorit to I don't need Buca de Beppo to happen. I don't need, I'm good. Like PK has a better storyline than Dorit this season, but I'm okay with that. Like I don't need, and I think Bravo fans, where we get it wrong sometimes is that we're like, that person needs to be fired, cast shakeup. And it's like, what a waste of our breath. Like, it's not going to change anything really what we think. They don't really ever listen to us. And by the way, only good things happen when you invest in a character. You can't have a perfect character the first season or the second season. You need to have them 3 seasons for us to start really investing in somebody and for their weirdness to come out. And that's why I'll always be sad that Dallas didn't continue, because I would have loved to have seen Tiffany Moon on a second season to see more of her weirdness,
I agree with you. All right. No, I definitely agree with you. I just did an interview with Dr. Tiffany Moon. I love her.
I really love her. Yeah.
She really is incredible. And I wish we would have seen her more. And I hate the fact that they kind of got teased with filming to start off, but then they just found out that they're put on pause, which we all know what pause means. Yeah. Real Housewives of Miami was put on pause until they got picked up on Peacock. But pause means
only 7 years later,
Yeah, exactly. Pause means
Dorinda was put on pause, right? Like
yes. And now we see her coming on the All Stars Housewives season 2. Whatever. But they need to bring her back on Real Housewives of New York. But I do have a question, because I know that your time is precious, so I don't want to keep all of it. Getting back to Salt Lake City, Jen Shaw. We know that she was indicted on 2 counts of fraud. She is still pleading not guilty. I think a lot of us feel like, unfortunately, I wouldn't wish jail on my worst enemy. Prison time, especially 7 to 10 years, which is something that Ronald Richards is saying or estimating. What are your thoughts on all of this? Because we saw Teresa Giudice, and she signed some documents, but it was her signature, so she's held responsible. We see Erika Girardi, and her husband's the one who's allegedly committing these crimes, but she's responsible because she's spending money. So she's getting sued for X amount of money. When I say X, it's a lot of freaking money. It's $25 million. But then we see Jen Shaw, and she is deemed as this sort of ringleader. So this is very different than what we've seen before.
Yeah. I mean, you know, with Jen Shaw, she is at the top of the food chain in terms of what the FBI or you know, Homeland's what they're after is she's the top. People are flipping on her. She's not like a small cog in the wheel. She is the wheel, and it's bizarre for her to continue on with this second season the way she is, and I just don't think there's any getting out of it at this point. In fact, you know, there's rumors that Stu Chains flipped on her, and she will be doing time. I mean, she did this, and the fact that even in the second episode, she still has the gall to say, you know, I don't fit in with this group, and all, like, you know, Jen Shaw is just one of those people that'll tell you if the sky's blue, she'll be like, no, the sky's black. And
Right.
you're like, well, I see the sky's blue. She's like, no, it's black. How dare you? Are you against me? Like she tries to get people in a position where she tries to play the victim, and that's hard to do when there's going to be really hard proof coming out that she is so far from a victim. But that's America these days, is that you can flat out lie. She can go to prison and never admit that she did any of these things, which I think she'll do. You know, she'll never fully admit she did these things, but she will go to jail. I have no doubt in my mind, you know?
And well, no, I'm buying what you're saying because she's a part of an alleged fraud ring of 11 or 12 people. And we're down to the last 3, Stuart Smith being one of them, her former assistant number 2, who is now taking a plea deal. So are you familiar with Emily D. Baker?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Okay. So Emily D. Baker, love her. She's always on our channel, maybe like once a week, every 2 weeks. I always like to pick her brain because she knows what all of the legal jargon means. And when I was asking her, what does this mean? You have this whole tier of people and there's 3 left who haven't taken a plea deal. Now Stuart Smith is taking a plea deal. Why won't Jen Shaw? She said, I have no idea. It makes no sense because once 11 out of 12 have taken a plea deal, Jen Shaw has nowhere to go. They've all pretty much said, this is who did it. And then at that point, where do you go from here? So,
well, I mean, are we even sure she's been offered a plea deal? You know, like they don't, at a certain point, if you have enough information, you don't need to offer anything, you know?
Oh,
I mean, I'm just saying, if they're all flipping against her, why would she need to take a plea deal at that point if they've got her hook, line, and sinker regardless? Like,
right.
What are you, we'll give you some time off just for admitting you did it. They can prove she did it already, I think.
Right. Well, and, you know, Emily also said that at one point she was called into the courts in some capacity and they were like, listen, we're letting you know these are shady business practices. And then because I asked her, I said, when they call her in the courts, what can they say to her? And she said, well, let me tell you. They said to Jen, these are shady business practices. This is what you're doing and it's not right. And Jen allegedly somehow turned around and went and found a new way to perform the same shady business practices, thinking that she wouldn't get caught. And
yeah,
it caught up with her.
Yeah. I mean, I'm curious how much of this will play out on the season. I mean, we got that first 2 minutes of her getting busted on the season premiere or the after her. And what scares me is like, oh my God, I hope that's not the last scene of the actual last episode of this season. And then there's a to be continued, you know?
Right. Oh, no.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you know, these Housewives shows are getting so intense that you wouldn't be surprised if murder becomes a part of it at some point. Like, we're so intense already. Where do you go from here? Like, this is the most intense couple of years. If the Housewives could look 15 years ago on Real Housewives of Orange County and look at the shows today, they'd be like, what the hell is this?
Yeah.
Like, what? We started off just talking about our families. Are you kidding me? People are going to jail now? Like, it's Housewives on steroids. And at a certain point, people are going to start, I feel like, doing crimes just to make good TV. And that's, I mean, it's just interesting. We're used to this stuff now, you know?
Yeah, that's scary. But no, you're right. It's kind of like an Investigates / Bravo Housewives crossover. But again, you're not wrong. Ryan, I've picked your brain. I've asked you the questions, and I'm so thankful that you came on with me, especially last minute. Thank you so much.
Yeah, man. I hope you feel better. Thank you for having me back, even though I had to cancel the first time. But yeah, man, this is great. You have to come on the pod sometime yourself when you feel better. But this is great, and thank you. Hopefully, we get some people watching. I don't know, this is.
Yeah, we have 1,000 in the room right now, so we're good. We have 1,000.
Hey, everybody! Hi.
Yeah,
we have 1,000 in the. Are you kidding me?
No, there's 1,000 in the room, and we just got another super chat. Krista Marie Miller, you know, she also robbed her aunt, and that's
really
where
loves the super chats.
Yeah, she's in with the super chats. You know, she also robbed her aunt, and that's where the scene went missing. Family asked Bravo, take that aunt scene out, and that's why Coach left her. Okay, hold on. There's maybe one or two more. Oh, no, they've disappeared. But we had a couple more in here. Guys, I apologize if you send in super chats. We're working on it here. But no, we had over 1,000 people in the room, so that's exciting. Cool. We'll probably get anywhere from 20 to 30 to 40,000 views on this video. So,
oh my God! Well, guys, please come listen, check out the podcast. If you want to see if you like what you heard today, come check that out. There's tons of great guests. We had Watch What Crappens today. We had the directors of the LuLaRoe documentary that's on Amazon right now. Tomorrow we have Ronald Richards later this week, and we have a crazy Beverly Hills recap on Friday where I do all the voices, and it's just an unhinged mess. So if you want to try out a new pod, check it out. It would be great if you did, but no pressure. And thanks for giving me the opportunity, man.
Yeah, of course. And also, guys, you don't even have to go look for it. Just go in the description of this video below and you can find Ryan Bailey's podcast. Click on the link. Go give him a listen. I'm telling you, it's worth it. And also, I didn't bring up this last photo, but I'm just giving you examples because I was watching and I'm like, okay, the emoji got me. And then it was her reenact this moment at the reunion today. Like it's just funny little tidbits coming from Ryan. And honestly, his podcast is even better. These are just photos. They don't mean anything.
Yeah, by the way, we weren't this silly today, but the podcast is silly. The Instagram account is silly. But, you know, when you're talking about something serious like this, there's only so funny you can get with it. But that's why I love the Instagram meme format, because you can kind of do little jabs, as Dorit says to Garcelle, like, you give me jabs, jab, jab, jab. So
yeah, well, Ryan, I didn't want you to come on here and bully me today, so I didn't ask for the jab. No, I'm just kidding.
Don't bully me, Adam.
This was amazing, though. Thank you so much, and I hope that, honestly, in the future, I know that you weren't feeling the best last week, and this week I'm kind of getting over it. You know, it ebbs and flows, but thank you so much for joining me. I hope we can have you back in the future. And hey, if you ever
anytime and whenever you feel, let me know when you feel better, and we'll book you on the show.
Don't say that. I'll message you tonight and be like, hey, guys, I'm a worker.
I'm at the hospital. I feel good. Yeah.
I'm good. I have an IV. Guys, I have a camera. I'm ready to go. All right. Well, Ryan,
thank you guys.
I appreciate you.
Bye.
Bye. All right, guys, if you're not following Ryan Bailey, make sure that you do on his podcast, on anywhere you get podcasts. So Bad It's Good with Ryan Bailey. Also, guys, if you haven't already, go ahead and smash that like button. Show some love. If you're not subscribed, get subscribed. That's about it. There's so much more Real Housewives of everything. Beverly Hills, Atlanta, Orange County, New York, New Jersey. It's all unfolding before our very eyes. Only a few of them have criminal activities. Not saying who, but stay tuned because we will be talking about them all. Bye, guys. Bye.